Turn that damn truth on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as it is actually Wednesday. It may not feel like it because of a holiday weekend from this past weekend, but yes, you are the midway point of the week technically. But we're going to have plenty of things to talk about today, getting into some Razorback football. I'm sure some Razorback basketball, too. We'll also have some things going around in the college football landscape, as well as all the sports world. We'll have who our heavy hitters are, presented by HD Roofing and Construction. And, of course, get into the chat and feel the vibes of what everybody else is feeling out there today. But, fellas, it's a good Wednesday. It's a good hump day. How are the vibes today?
Pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. I like being at the halfway point of the week, but only the second day of work. That's kind of a nice feeling. I'll take it. I'm still looking forward to this football game this weekend, but I'm also enjoying a little plane tracking season, just kind of shaking off the rust a little bit, just in case we have to do some of the coaching variety at some point, someday in the future. But the recruiting period's open back up. So John Calipari's all over the place. We've been following that trail all day long, and we'll continue to do that. But a good day so far.
Damn, Curtis advocating for firing Sam Pittman right off the bat. Wow, that's crazy, man. We're 2 minutes into the show, and all of a sudden Curtis is like, get the guy out of here.
I'm not beating around the bush today, okay?
I mean, geez, man. I tell you, I'm actually kind of enjoying this time period before the Arkansas State game because I feel like the discourse is going to be way more exciting than the actual game. So I kind of like living in this moment. Like, I'm excited for Saturday, looking forward to it, but I know that once it's over, we're just going to move on with our lives and we're never going to think about it again. So I'm trying to enjoy these last few days, but I'm ready to talk some ball today. So if you're in the chat, you want to talk some ball. And when I say ball, I don't mean, should we fire Sam Pittman? Are we going to make the playoffs? I'm talking about actual ball. I want to talk about the players. I want to talk about the position groups. I want to talk about the team. I want to talk about the matchup. So if you want to talk ball today, you came to the right spot. Nowadays in sports, not a lot of ball talking going around. There's a lot of talk in sports shows about everything other than ball. But that's what we do here on this show. We talk about football, basketball, baseball, cool stuff.
Yes. And throw your questions our way. We'll get into the too deep of the linebackers and everything. If you guys want to really break it all down to the best of our ability, we'll definitely do that. But either way, we got a lot of things to talk about. And that's what's cool is, of course, a little Arkansas and Arkansas State action happening this weekend. We know last night got to hear from some of the players for Arkansas. And it was just funny. I know we'll get into some other things too, but we go through and hey, if there's any clips to play or anything significant there, not to say that it was just awful and there was no information, but as far as just talking points go, I don't know how much was there, but you got a chance to hear from a couple of defensive, offensive players. Braylon Russell, Kobe Branham was there from the offensive side. I also got to hear from Caleb Wooden, the former Auburn player, and as well as oh my gosh, his name just escaped me. The safety. Oh my gosh.
Worth.
Yes, thank you. Larry Worth. Good grief. Couldn't even think of that. But either way, the guy that's actually been on the team for a long time is the one I couldn't remember. But either way, we had a chance to hear from him yesterday. And it was funny to me how, of course, not saying that the media was bad in asking these questions, but just saying, hey, has Sam Pittman talked to you guys about the significance of this game? And hey, what do you think about this game? And hey, what do you make of the situation where you're going down here to play this game for the first time ever and all of that? I think that it was nice to hear the players you could tell, hey, you're going to get asked about this. So here's just a canned answer that you could give. But basing it on just the vibes that I got from them, it's kind of like those things where you're like, hey, just another game. Like, we understand, like we've been told it, but we're just approaching it as another game. We know what Sam Pittman said a couple days ago, but it's kind of nice to hear also the players. It's like being aware that something's there, but also not acting like this is the biggest deal in the world. And, oh my goodness, I can't wait to go down there and play some Arkansas State Red Wolves. It just didn't give that vibe right there.
Good. I love to hear it. Let them make a big deal out of it if they want to make a big deal out of it. I subscribe still to the Sam Pittman theory here of, we're not going to ignore it. Yeah, we understand the historical significance. But we're also not going to make a huge deal out of this when it doesn't need to be. And he's right, because they do have some things that they really need to work on from last week, some things that they need to clean up moving forward. The focus is on that. You can have the little speech. You can bring somebody in there to talk about the fact that there's another college on the other side of the state or whatever that you haven't played before. And well, that'll be neat and it'll be different. And there's going to be a lot of fans who are excited about it. But yeah, man, I like the way that they're approaching this for sure. I like Andrew's analogy yesterday of not putting them over, for the old wrestling term there. I agree 100%.
Well, and I do think it's important to note that, like, and we talked about this going into last week. Once it became game week of week one, there's a mentality shift. There is a whole different thing. And I think Sam Pittman has had a pretty good feel for this, where, you know, if you're doing a press conference in June, yeah, you can talk about whatever you want. You can talk about big picture stuff. Sam Pittman and his team should be in this mindset of like, hey, we play football in 3 days. How do we beat Arkansas State? That is the only thing that dude should care about right now. And it appears to be the only thing he does care about. And so, yeah, I don't know if Sam Pittman hired a media training guy or something lately, but he's kind of been spitting a little bit. Like he actually hasn't said anything stupid in a decent amount of time.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll see if this continues on with having the good things to say and saying the right things, at least. Of course, if Arkansas loses this game, there will be nothing to be said. It'll just something to be done if that ends up happening. But still, it is the game itself that is, I know people are looking forward to. Do you guys buy that it's going to be a sellout? Like, do you guys buy the fact that this is going to be a capacity crowd at War Memorial Stadium on Saturday?
I don't know if I go that far. I bet it's going to be a significantly larger crowd than what they've been getting there over the course of the last several years. But one thing I've noticed, a lot of people have been putting out like the Ticketmaster or Game Time, you know, seating prices or whatever. And if they're charging that much for the tickets that remain to get in the game there, then I bet there's going to be some empty seats, because I don't know that I'd be paying $180 to walk in there.
So I agree. I definitely would not be, especially because some of those seats were upper deck. But I got to say, I saw a bunch of people complaining about it. And I think that, to answer your question, John, that actually tells you that it is going to be a pretty good crowd. Because, like, for example, I'm a guy who lives on these third-party ticket apps. Like Saturday for the Arkansas game, there were like several thousand seats available. So that meant that, you know, you can get some for $10, some for $12. And then if you went down, you got them for more money. The fact that, like, even upper deck tickets, there's only a couple hundred left on these ticketing sites, and they're going for a ton of money. That's just simple supply and demand. So I think it's one, I agree. It's absolutely, like, if you're paying $200 for a third-party ticket to sit in the upper deck at War Memorial, God bless you. I respect that. I actually do respect that. And I'm glad that there's at least going to be a big enough crowd at War Memorial that, like, someone is having to do that. But I think it actually is a good sign for the crowd this weekend that third-party tickets, there's only a handful left, and they're going for that high. I think it's people trying to just, you know, make their money back and do whatever they got to do. But I think it's going to be way bigger crowd than we've had there in quite some time. Will it be completely capacity? Probably not. I'd imagine like around the 50K range, but it should be vastly improved from what we've been seeing for some of these, you know, FCS games that they played there in recent years.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of where I'm at, where if there's no doubt that this game at War Memorial Stadium is going to be a more, I wouldn't say important, but just a game that people want to see more than any of the other previous teams that they've had down there. Even UAPB, when they played down there, I guess it was in 2021 or last year, there was just, you know, interest, but it wasn't like, oh man, what a historical battle between Arkansas and UAPB. And, you know, UAPB had fans there. I think a lot of people came for the band performance. I know I certainly did, but there was a lot of those elements. But then on the other side of it, you have the Arkansas State Red Wolves, which I don't know how many fans of theirs are going to be in Little Rock. I honestly don't know. But that's one thing I am going to be curious about, where it might be the most attended game in War Memorial by an opposing team, probably since the last time you played an SEC game there, maybe. So, you know, maybe there'll be a lot of those fans. I'll just be curious to see what the percentages are. It'd be really funny to me if it was like 30% A-State fans. You see a lot of black and red, which I guess is their colors, getting loud in there. But who knows? Maybe there's a lot of Razorback fans who just want to see this. I think there'll be a who's who. I'm sure the governor will be there. You know, like all these people in the state of Arkansas, the politicians and everything. But at the end of the day, I just think that it'll be a good crowd. I'll be curious to see if it maintains being a good crowd. You know, is there going to be people that, end up leaving? Because here's my thing, guys, and this is why I bring it up. If we talked about it yesterday, but if this is the last game at War Memorial Stadium, if it is, I'm going to be really actually disappointed with the university and everybody involved if they knew for sure 100% that it was going to be the last one and they didn't give it a swan song. If they didn't like promote the fact that, hey, this is the last game. Because as much as we talked about it yesterday, we don't need to rehash the whole great stadium debate, but I just feel like that if you were really going to take this approach, it would be kind of nice to be, all right, well, hey, this is the last one. So all you folks out there that want to have these lasting memories, get your pictures there, like whatever. I think that you should have announced that and should have done that, because would be the only thing I feel like would be a little bit disappointing if this was the last game and nobody really truly 100% knew about it, but the people involved actually did.
Yeah, it's like when Coach K retired, but he announced the year in advance. Is like, I'm going to take my retirement tour the way everybody knows, so you can plan accordingly. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. That was an interesting thought too on the split and what that might look like how many Arkansas State fans are going to travel up there and everything, because you would think if they play into the Super Bowl mentality, or like it really means a lot to them, then they'll have a good amount of folks come. But what does that really even mean? Like if AI is accurate, I'm looking at it here, Arkansas State averaged fewer than 17,000 fans in their home stadium in 2023, and then just over 15,000 in 2022. How many, what percentage of those folks are going to go to, War Memorial there? It's still going to be, and you guys know this, but some people were asking about the percentages and everything. It's going to be a overwhelmingly pro Razorback crowd there. But I'm sure it'll be more heavily attended for Arkansas State than it was whoever the hell Western Carolina or whoever they played there recently.
Yeah. Could Arkansas State bring 10,000 fans Saturday? Does that sound like a decent number? You don't think? I would say that's probably optimistic, right?
That would be I think that would be a hell of a turnout for them. I'll go on radio in Jonesboro today, and that's one question that I want to ask is like, what's the sense for people? Are you going to do like a Red Wolf caravan over to Little Rock? I mean, what's that going to look like?
Doesn't help that they also wear red. Obviously, they got some black, and it's not the exact shade of red, but we're not going to be able to look at the crowd and be like, oh, wow, there's about 8,000 purple shirts here. Maybe that's, we won't really know. Plus, obviously, there's some people that went to Arkansas State that cheer for Arkansas, all these things. So it's like, it's going to be kind of interesting, but I'm fascinated by this. And to your point, John, of this being the last time, I wonder if the university thought about this. They had to have thought about this at least, of like, should we do it, make it a thing of it being the last one? I think they probably thought there would be too much backlash, because people probably would have had such an outrage if they were like, hey, this is the last game in War Memorial. I think people would have gotten so pissed off about it that it would have affected everything. And also, I think they're kind of leaving that door open, because I don't think they want to declare it of like, hey, this is the final one, because there's going to be a day where Arkansas thinks about it and they're like, you know what, we kind of maybe would want to do a one-off in War Memorial. And we talked about that a little bit last year or yesterday, that this may or may not, even though it's the last of the official agreement, I feel like they're still going to keep that door open that they might play a game there one day.
Yeah, and see, that's my thing is like it has to be one or the other, hopefully. If it ends up being the last one, you either have to take the stance of, well, we just didn't want to piss everybody off and cause some sort of major thing where, those crazy Little Rock fans like storm the field and they were like, well, I'm taking the goalpost down and I'm taking a piece to my house because it's the last time over. Like, I mean, you either got to have that over dramatic response or the other over dramatic response of, we just didn't care enough and we didn't want to tell anybody, so we just did it. I'm hoping that's the case. But to the point of the crowd, I'll be honest, guys. I just, for the first time in my life, looked up how many people fit into Centennial Bank Stadium, where Arkansas State plays. Do you guys know the capacity? Because I did not. You guys happen to know it?
22,334.
It's about 30,000 people.
Okay. Oh, damn.
Capacity. So I was trying to look at that, not to say that Arkansas State, and who knows, maybe they do. They sell out and have capacity crowds every day. But I'm like, okay, say if they average about 30,000 people there or close to it, could a third of those fans make it down to Little Rock for this game that all of them have wanted to see and all of them have wanted it to be like? Maybe. But I'll be honest, as weird as it is, I'll be disappointed if Arkansas State fans are not well represented there at War Memorial. I will be legitimately disappointed in them.
Based on the numbers that Curtis read off, about half of those seats are filled at Arkansas State, given the year. Sometimes 14, sometimes 17 or whatever. So if they're doing about half full for their own stadium, I think it's probably optimistic to imagine that half of those half full would show up to Little Rock. And so I think now that I'm really thinking about it, my 10,000 estimate was crazy. I think
Well,
it's probably going to be more like 5,000 maybe.
Well, I guess the approach I was taking with that was, okay, this is to Arkansas State. Now, again, maybe I'm speaking for them, but this is like the biggest game for them. This is the game they've been wanting this whole time. And I feel like if this game was being played in Jonesboro, there would be 30,000 people there because it's like, this is a big deal. So I'm trying to use it through that lens of, if they had it at J Boogie, there'd be 30,000. Well, they're having it in Little Rock, which is what, an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that away. So surely they'll be able to, I just don't know. Again, speaking for Arkansas State fans, I just don't know any Arkansas State fans like, you know what? I would go to the game if it was in Jonesboro where I live or in this area. But since it's an hour and a half away, I just can't make the trip. Like, I just don't think any fans are going to do that. So that's what I'm curious about. Since this is literally the biggest game, it's their Super Bowl, of games, then I think that's where it was kind of like the Kentucky game in basketball. It's like, how disappointing and weird would it have been if we went there and there was like empty seats. You're like, well, no. This is what y'all have been begging for. Y'all been circling this game for a long time. Be the same thing here. It's like, hey, Arkansas State, this is y'all's game. This is what you've wanted. And for you not to show up to it, or at least not to have a huge showing in it, would be just weird and disappointing. So I guess that's the approach I'm taking from it. Of course, I don't even know when was the last time Arkansas State played a big opponent in Jonesboro. Maybe they have recently, and the crowd was good. I don't know, but
give it a week, we'll see.
Yeah. Because Miami was supposed to, but they bounced out of that one.
That's right. When I was a youngster, they hosted Memphis in there, and it was one of those years that Memphis was really good. And they had that place packed out. But I remember a lot of times being there, and we're sitting in the bleachers or whatever, and there wouldn't be anybody within 40 feet of me, and they're playing Troy or something. And it was pretty light in there.
Yeah. No.
I will say, can we declare this though? If the total attendance for the game is announced less than 50,000, demolition right away. Auto demolition, right?
Well, I think
is that fair? Can we all agree on that?
I think the Little Rock Catholic School for Boys may have a problem at their home stadium being demolished, but we could probably make a order for it.
I mean, obviously we were talking about the tickets and everything earlier, and I was saying how I felt like, looking at the third party, like it looks like it will be a good crowd. And based on everything, based on, the U of A saying it's a sellout, based on Steve Sullivan saying it's a sellout, all these things, if it winds up not being a good crowd there at War Memorial, like everyone who's argued for it and, argued and said we're idiots for thinking they shouldn't play there, the leg to stand on would just be non-existent. It would be a Bubba Gump type of leg to stand on.
Yeah. Yes, it would. It needs to be a capacity crowd for sure. That's for sure. We'll have some other news going on with Razorback football, but I want to remind everybody that we're presented by our friends over at BetSaracen, the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. And they got a lot of great deals, a lot of great specials going on, like the $50,000 pigskin jackpot, where it's your parlay, your jackpot. And you can opt into it right now by downloading the app on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can go to betsaracen.com. But as we know, they also have great specials going on each and every day, but particularly for this game with Arkansas and Arkansas State. They got the double R prop plays that you can go through, which I know we'll get through and go through some of the ones we really like when it comes to our pre-games, but that you can still go on for regular season wins for Arkansas, as well as the home wins, team specials. Do you think Arkansas is going to go undefeated and go to the college football playoff? You can even bet on that craziness. But right now, Arkansas is favored by 23.5 points to the Arkansas State Red Wolves, and the over-under set at 62.5. And you can get to winning big and get to all the specials and all the different great things that they have with the BetSaracen app today. It's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. The other news, guys, that I wanted to dive into, and this was reported yesterday, but I guess became official today, is that, I find it just funny because Arkansas and Texas Tech officially will be playing in Vegas, Las Vegas, and the Allegiant Stadium for the Vegas Kickoff Classic. I wonder how long it took them to come up with that name. But the Vegas Kickoff Classic will be happening in 2030. And I remember seeing that. I'm like, golly, that's so far away. Actually, it's only 5 years away. It's not really that long away. But either way, this is a game that got announced yesterday. I think Brett McMurphy was the first to report it. And then they officially put it out in a statement. And it says that Arkansas and Texas Tech were scheduled to meet in Lubbock in 2030 and in Fayetteville in 2031. But now the two teams will meet in Lubbock as part of the 2034 season. So you didn't get your home game moved. They got their home game moved for Vegas, which I don't know about y'all. I think having this game in Vegas compared to Lubbock would be a lot more fun anyways. But when you saw this report, what are y'all's thoughts? As we know about neutral sites and games and all of this, but what'd you make of this particular matchup against Texas Tech for one, but also it being in Vegas in 2030?
If you're going to do a neutral site game for football, you got to do it somewhere cool and regional. Like if, like in fairness, like the thing at AT&T Stadium or down in Nolens or something like that, or you go to Vegas. I mean, that's huge. I think it's awesome. And I know a lot of, traditionalists or, Arkansas and Texas Tech fans will say, well, that's 1,000 miles out of the way for either school. Why wouldn't you just play? And well, they're going to. I love the idea of doing the neutral site thing. I love the idea of doing it at Vegas. We've been standing for a trip to the Vegas Bowl for years now. And frankly, Inside Arkansas needs this. This is motivation to make sure that we're not only just afloat, but that we're thriving so we can make this trip in 2030. I'm looking ahead to it. Logan, listen, buddy, yep. I know this is your cup of tea. Hit me up. Like, let's go ahead and start planning now. I think it's really, really cool. And I'm glad that they're doing this. This is an Arkansas basketball type of move right here that Arkansas football is making. And I'm all for it, man. I think it's awesome.
I mean, literally just days ago on this very show, we were talking about this exact thing. We were like, man, that's what all the cool teams are doing. They're playing a prominent week 1 game at a neutral location. We think that would be awesome for Arkansas to be a part of something like this. Ask and you shall receive, because that's literally what we get just a few days later. I love this for sure. And, we can have the conversation about whether or not it's cooler to do a home and home like Arkansas is doing with Notre Dame or to do a neutral site location. The best part about this is you're doing a home and home and a neutral site location. So I think that's awesome. What will this mean for Arkansas Texas Tech rivalry? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to really buzz everything up. We did the home and home, of course, in 2014-15. I think that had a little bit of juice around it. Those games were cool. Those games were fun. Would have been cool if Arkansas could have won the home one. But I think that by the time that home and home happens after the Vegas game, I think these two fan bases will have enough of of course, by the way, they played in the bowl game last year. Everyone remembers that. I think there will be enough juice there. And honestly, I think the big part about this is it being week 1. We just watched week 1 of college football happen. What are the games that everybody in the country is talking about? Miami versus Notre Dame, which was that a neutral? That was not a neutral site, but that was on a Sunday or a Monday or whatever. The Alabama game, which also wasn't a neutral site, but that is a big marquee opponent, and Alabama typically plays and stuff like this. LSU Clemson was a big one. All these huge matchups between power conference opponents week 1. I love having these at, neutral locations or home and home, but I think it's going to be beneficial to see if Arkansas gets it, if it's going to be a Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday, because I think that adds to the kind of stage you can put this thing on. And I like Arkansas being a part of this for sure.
See, here's my thing. The Vegas angle, and I don't care who you play in Vegas. It's cool. It's Vegas. Yeah. We're not talking about playing in, and even playing at Arrowhead would be cool. Playing in Arlington, we've done it so much. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt, moving on. But Vegas, destination, and it's also not like you're playing in a UNLV stadium. You're playing where the Raiders play. You're playing in an NFL venue. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be awesome. But this is the best thing of it all, guys, to me. This is why I'm all in on this no matter what, is because you're playing Texas Tech. I have zero desire to go to Lubbock. Just being honest. That's not a destination spot. However, if you were playing Michigan, we'll just throw that out, or Ohio State, something like that, in this venue, instead of playing them at their place or instead of having a home and home, I would be a little bit bummed because it's I'd like to go and experience that road environment. I'd like to go to Ohio State. I'd like to go to Michigan. I'd like to go to, whoever that you want to throw out there. But this particular case, I'm okay, well, you play Texas Tech, it's whatever, but I'm not upset that I don't get to go to Lubbock, or that I do. I know eventually it'll happen, but I'm not upset that it's not a home and home. I think it's the perfect thing. I think it's the perfect thing when it comes to a matchup, when it comes to a team that who knows what these teams are going to look like in 5 years, but you feel good about being beatable. Who knows? Maybe there'll be more direct flights to Vegas by that point in time out of X and A. Who knows? But I think it's just the best of all worlds to play this game out there. And I don't know the date. They haven't announced the date, but we can go ahead and assume It's going to be Labor. Okay, so it's Labor Day weekend in so August 29th through September 1st. So it's going to be the first game of the year. So how about that? And then throw that into the mix. It's probably going to be pretty hot out there, you know, a little warm. But the casinos are going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. I mean, they're going to have a team hotel. Hopefully they don't, like last time we were in Vegas, Curtis, somebody doesn't, what was it, run out of water or something something happened to one of those resorts. I forgot, the casinos. What was it?
Well, the place that UConn was staying in, they like their rooms were all a mess, and there was something else going on there. It was like a plumbing issue or something. They had to move them to a different to a different venue, a different hotel. It was something like that. It was definitely UConn though, and then they were mad when they came over to the T-Mobile Arena. So
yeah, well, they were mad and they showed it because they won, but still. Yeah, I think it's great. What should be the official Razorback casino resort hotel out there in Vegas? Like, can we go ahead and just dub it? Can we go ahead and name it right now? Who it needs to be? The Bellagio? Is that what we're going with?
Sure. Yeah, I'm down with that. Caesar's Palace, wherever you want to go. Hell, John, when we were there, they put us in New York, and we had a heck of a time. So I'm down for anything, man.
Yeah. Did the real Caesar stay there?
People were talking.
Yeah. Well, I think also too is just so funny seeing where they're like, "Hey, we got you the media rate, guys, at the New York. It's $89 a night." We're like, "Oh, what a deal!" But then you're like, it's actually only $99 a night normally. So but the hotels are cheap. Usually you can get into those hotels pretty cheap out there.
Okay, Jakota says that Circa should be the one, and he's right. Now that's Fremont. That's off the Strip, but Circa's where it's at. If you're the sports betting type, that's where you need to go. That's the best sports book in the world. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And again, so it'll be so hot out there too for that. It'll be, go out to that outdoor pool sports book, do it all that. I like how it also says it's the weekend too. So that's another thing, guys. This game could be a Sunday. It could be a Monday.
I think I was thinking about that. It probably will be Sunday. Last year when LSU and USC played there, it was on a Sunday. And they typically try and spread out, like we just saw Notre Dame, Miami play or whatever. UNC played on Monday. They try and spread out these marquee matchups. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I think there's a very good chance it will not be on a Saturday, which, believe it or not, is good for the University of Arkansas and their exposure.
Yeah, because it'll be the one main game that people I know are going to be watching, paying attention to, probably be heavily bet on, all that good stuff. So I love it. I love the fact that this is happening. And I can't wait for 2030 to get here. Again, who knows what in the world these programs, what college sports in general is going to look like at that point in time. I mean, there's just so much going on with it. But as part of your Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall, it's Ultimate Razorback Shopping Experience. Again, we will be there live the Friday before the Notre Dame game. So the final Friday in September, we're going to be there live once again. But they got everything that you could possibly want when it comes to your Razorback apparel. They got the nicest stuff. We're talking about Southern Tide. We're talking about Johnny O. We're talking about Columbia. We're talking about all of those things in store. They have it fully in stock, but as well as jerseys, brand new hats, everything for men, women, and kids. They have it all. So check them out in store at 3417 North College Avenue. But if you can't make it there, that's okay. Shop it online at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall, and you'll have it delivered straight to your door in time for the next Razorback home game. It is Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. So just out of curiosity, I know that you're getting both home and homes as well as the game in Vegas. But I was curious, would you rather play a marquee opponent like we were talking about in Vegas? And if you don't think Texas Tech, that's not the point, folks. Do not go away from the question. Would you rather play a marquee opponent in Vegas, or would you rather have a home and home against that marquee opponent instead? As of right now, 63% say they'd rather have a home and home opponent against a marquee opponent rather than playing in Vegas. So again, you can leave that up to your own interpretation of what you consider a marquee opponent. But honestly, I'm not surprised given Razorback fans and how much they're about having those home and home games. Because also speak for Razorback fans, they've had, I think, enough of their fill of the neutral sites for a while,
Yeah, that's 100% true. We're a little bit jaded over here by how that's gone down the last decade plus or whatever. So I could see that for sure. And I love the idea, like your chances of winning against whoever this marquee team might be, it's just higher at home. Even though Arkansas hasn't played particularly well at home the last few years, that's just it's just a fact. It's true. So I like that standpoint of it. Give me Like, do the home and home thing. Let's just make it like a 3-year rotation. I know you'll play different teams, but one year you got the home game, another year you're on the road for that P4 game, and then the third year you go to a neutral and you play somewhere, and you just kind of cycle through like that. If they did that, I'd be happy.
I mean, frankly, and by the way, John, you clarified that this was not a reference to the Texas Tech. This is a big picture thing. Obviously, we get it. They're going to do all three, and that's what I think they should do every time. If you do the neutral and the home and home, let's just get it all. But I think I might be in the minority here. I like the neutral site, but only here's my caveat: you got to get rid of the Little Rock game, and you got to make sure you're not in another Arlington deal where you're already doing that, because that's been the thing. Is like most years, Arkansas can't even really entertain the idea of a neutral site game because you're already playing 2 potential home games away from your campus. I think if you're actually playing all your home games in your home stadium, that frees you up a little bit to where you're like, you know what, we wouldn't mind going to Tampa or to wherever to play like a big marquee game. But since Arkansas does have a tendency to schedule games that are not in their home stadium, I'll stick with the home and home now, because I think that's good for college football too. It's always nice to highlight your home stadium, get a cool game for your home crowd that people can come. I mean, like the fact that Notre Dame's going to be here in a couple of weeks, that's awesome, and that's never going to not be cool. And to your point, Jay, you made earlier, John, I wouldn't mind going to one of these marquee opponents' home campuses. I'm glad we're not going to Lubbock till next decade. But like if Arkansas played a home and home with like USC or something like that, it's like I would love to do that. Go see some of these cool venues, or like go see some of these cool areas. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be actually very upset if they changed the Notre Dame game that's supposed to be there in South Bend over to playing where like the Bears play in Chicago or something. Like I would be very upset. It's like, no, I want to see the campus. I want to see the traditions that they have. The ones that I saw on Rudy years ago. Like I want to see them do those things. Like I want to have that experience. So that's why I think the opponent is always the important thing. Is again, if you're playing some team that you don't care, a Baylor or TCU or Texas Tech or whoever, it's like you can play those at other venues, but then at the same time, like, well, if like Arkansas played the U, like Miami's like, I want to go down to Miami. I want to see what that's like. I don't want to play it down there at where the Dolphins play. Where actually, I think is that where they actually play? Is where the Dolphins?
I think they might actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Point is, I don't want to see them in some other venue. I want to see them where they play their home games. That's what I want to see. So I think a lot of Razorback fans don't understand that. And again, football is just ever changing with the 9-game conference schedule. How's that going to go? And also, real quick too, about the point with the game in Arlington. I saw people saying this yesterday to me. They're just like, I just don't understand what the point of this is. Like, what was the point of us getting in that deal in Arlington? It was such a stupid deal and everything. You want to know why they got in it? Because at the time, you got to a 10-year deal to play in Jerry World, which was a state-of-the-art stadium, against an opponent that was not in the SEC. And every single game you played there, you got $5 million just to do it. And it was also supposed to help you with recruiting in Texas and all that, which never did. But the point is, everything's in the moment. Like, you can look back on stuff and be like, that was so dumb. Why did it take so long? We should have gotten out of it. Well, at the time, it was a great deal, and you signed on for it. But I'm with you. I hope that they don't ever sign any long-term neutral site stuff like that again. Do it year by year, future, whatever. But long-term stuff, let's just get away from that for a bit so we can count on some more home games in Fayetteville for sure. So
I want to give a quick shout out to the most miserable human being in our chat. And that's saying a lot. Camo Gang every day is just miserable every single day. Dude, nobody's saying Arkansas is going to beat Notre Dame. That's not at all the point of this segment. We're not even saying that, hey, if you schedule all these cool things, you're going to go out there and beat opponents. We're just talking about, is it cool to do home and homes? Is it cool to do neutral sites? Nobody's saying Arkansas is beating Notre Dame or that, hey, it's going to be this monumental win for the program. It's just cool to be on these stages, have marquee opponents, have marquee games happening, have the nation looking at you, taking these cool trips. Like, just relax, dude. Like, nobody is trying to tell you that Arkansas is the best team ever. We're literally just having a conversation about marquee opponents and, fun matchups. Like, just relax. I promise it'll be all right.
Well,
I see him in here yapping and just complaining every single day. Just like, what? You think Arkansas is good? Really? You think Arkansas is good? Really, dude? Really? It's like, dude, we're not even saying that. We're just having a conversation about schedules, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I still, even though Arkansas got beat by 100 points each time they played USC, I still thought it was pretty cool that they did a home and home with them. So,
oh, dude, I remember staying up late to watch that game. Yeah, when they went to LA and it was like 9:30 p.m. kick. I remember telling my mom, like, oh yeah, I'm going to sleep. Stood in my bed and just watched that. That was awesome.
70-17. 70. 17. What's the final score of that game?
Hey, Reggie Bush was cooking, dude. That was prime Reggie.
Yep. Reggie Bush versus Darren McFadden, even though it wasn't Darren McFadden. It was like Darren McFadden's second game as a Razorback. So, yeah, never forget all that nonsense. But either way, we'll get to some of your chats as well as some other things going on in the sports world. But I want to remind everybody that we are brought to you by our friends over at OZK Insurance. We know that nobody wants to deal with the hassle of shopping around when it comes to their insurance. It's a lot of hassle. It's a lot of time that you don't have. It's a lot of headaches that you don't want. Well, this is why we recommend OZK Insurance, because they're based right here in Arkansas, and they're going to shop multiple carriers to find you the best coverage and the price that is the best for you. Whether it's home, auto, business, you name it, they got it, and they'll do it. It's Saturdays in Razorback Stadium, or it could even be everyday life. You always want that protection. You want the protection that you can count on. So count on OZK Insurance and get a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com. Or you can call 479-715-4200. That's 479-715-4200. Over 600 5-star reviews on Google. They are the best in the business. So get OZK Insurance. It's protection made simple. All right. So getting into a few of your chats, we appreciate everybody chiming in and hanging out with us. Heartbroken Hog says, y'all should do an Inside Arkansas trip to Vegas. Tell us what hotel to stay in, and we'll all stay there, and we can hang out. Hogs take over Vegas. Man, why didn't we think of that? We should just go ahead and do that. Knock that out real quick.
Just like not even for a game, just go to Vegas. Listen,
I'm down.
I'm definitely for it. I am skeptical that you knuckleheads would fly out to Vegas and spend the weekend with us, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
Somebody would.
I'd say it sounds great in theory, but when it comes to the execution, I think most people will be like, I don't know if that's as cool as what you guys are trying to make it out to be. But you know,
maybe we all just meet at the SARACEN Casino and Resort. Maybe that's more likely. We go hang out there. More people would probably show up. That's the move.
Let's start there at least.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll be our tester.
Mm-hmm. And listen, when you win money, the money still stays the same. It's not like, oh, there's more money out there. No, money stays the same at the SARACEN Casino. So yeah, we could make that happen. By
the way, the SARACEN Casino pays out some. They've been paying out some big wins here lately. Like they post their stuff more than I feel like anybody else. Oh yeah, between that and then the hotel is almost finished. So it's going to be awesome when they get all that done. Let's see. Also. I like this from Jacoda. He says, I will be the official Inside Arkansas plane tracker as someone who's working on their pilot's license and access to publicly blocked aircraft. I can get the intel. Okay, Jacoda, relax.
There we go.
Man, I don't know.
That's what we need.
I have a team that is already assembled with boots on the ground and eyes on the skies, but Jacoda, we may have to start putting out some contract work and see if we can get them a better deal. Start looking at who's gonna help us out the best there. David wants to know, guys, is Butch Jones good? I still have no idea. What are your thoughts?
So I saw this debate was going on in the chat yesterday, or it was going on in the chat today about like, is Butch Jones a good coach? Context is important here. If Arkansas hired Butch Jones tomorrow, it would be unanimously laughed at by the entire country. Hog fans would be pissed. Nobody would be excited about that whatsoever. But given that he's at Arkansas State, I would say he's very overqualified for that job at Arkansas State, and he has done a very good job at Arkansas State. I mean, you just look at when he took it over. I think they were like 2-10. And, they went 8-4 last year. Like he's definitely turned them into he's turned the program around in a good way. He did a good job at Cincinnati. Tennessee, I know he couldn't get them over the hump, but like he even had a couple decent years at Tennessee. He's good in this context of being an Arkansas State coach, very much so. But like if he were an SEC coach, yeah, he's not a good high level top coach in the country.
I hate to even ask this question. Do you think Butch Jones is a better coach than Sam Pittman?
I don't know. I mean, it's different. It's tough to say. Like Butch Jones was at Tennessee, and he took it over like at a time when Tennessee was not in the dumpster. You know what I mean? Like where it's like there was really no excuse for him to not have a lot of success, and he had about Sam Pittman level success at Tennessee. So I don't know. I feel like if you put Sam Pittman in a situation where he was at like a program like a Florida or like had a bunch of resources and could delegate, I think he could probably have Butch Jones level success at least.
It is interesting to me that, like Sam Pittman's the head coach of the SEC school here in this operation, but the whole thing about how Butch Jones got that head job and then Sam Pittman was like, all right, Am I going to be his offensive line coach or no? Like what's that going to look like? It's just wild how things change over the course of several years there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, make no mistake, it ain't like this massive gap where anybody should be neither guy can be like, oh no, I'm way better than the other guy. I think these are both like, middle of the pack in the country coaches. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's a huge separation. I think they're a little bit different. I could argue Butch Jones is more proven and has had more success as a head coach at the collegiate level.
Yeah, and that's my only thing is just because, he's been a head coach pretty much, he was first head coach in 2007, at Central Michigan. And been a head coach since 2020, so it's just, you got a bigger body of work for Butch, but still, he went through the Nick Saban Rehab Center. He was kind of like the last one. It felt like every coach that came through the Nick Saban Rehab Center, it was like 1, 2, maybe 3 years, but Butch was like there for 5. It felt like he was there for a long time.
By the way, you mentioned the rehab. It's gone very well for people. And I don't know if it's directly because of it, but I mean, like Lane Kiffin was not crushing it when he went to Alabama, has had a lot of success after. Steve Sarkisian was literally drunk when he got to Alabama. He's had a lot of success afterwards. Obviously, Kirby has gone on to Georgia, but it's like there's been a lot of those guys. Bill O'Brien has had a lot of success afterwards. Butch Jones has had success. Like, there is something to the Saban rehabilitation project. And of course, working for Nick Saban isn't the hardest thing to do, I'm sure, but like there's something to that for sure.
Was it pre-Chad Morris or pre-Sam Pittman when we made our way to the Butch Jones conversation on the coaching search? Because I remember
that would I can't remember. The years get fuzzy.
It had to have been pre-Sam Pittman.
I think so, like December 2019.
Like the further along you got, and it's like, who wants this job? And people started doing what about Butch Jones?
What year was it that Butch Jones championed the Champions of Life? Y'all remember that?
Yeah, it was 2017 because he got fired from Tennessee in 2017.
So I bet it was 2019 then, Curtis. That would make sense, right? Because that would be December when he'd be at Alabama at that point.
Yeah, because he didn't go to Arkansas State till 2021. So basically, he went through 2 coaching searches for Arkansas while he was not working. So, but it sounds like it was probably then, but still, crazy to think about. But the point is like, hey, Butch Jones is doing just fine. They went 2-10. Was it also 2 years ago? When is it that they lost like 77-0 to Oklahoma? I remember that was really bad. And he was like crying on the sidelines. Do you guys remember that?
His first year at Arkansas State, they were like one of the worst teams in all of football, like FBS, FCS, like they got beat bad. And I think that would have had to be 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah,
that was rough seeing a head coach just get emotional like that on the sidelines. But again, Arkansas State, it's not that way anymore. They've definitely improved under him, the champions of life, and it's working out for them. They're doing just fine for it. I know. Here's what's going to happen, guys: is Auburn's going to fire Hugh Freeze, and they're going to hire Butch Jones because Auburn, they just love their Arkansas State coaches. That's what's going to happen.
I like that.
Let's see. Also, Ryan says pumped to play in Vegas. Don't know who the coach will be or who will be on the roster, but let's go. I mean, it's kind of how everybody is. It doesn't matter.
Some folks are saying it's going to be Joey McGuire at Arkansas. He's going to be playing his old team.
Man.
Although if I was him, I wouldn't be going anywhere with that money they got.
Yeah, geez. Is
it
going to be Joey McGuire or John Gruden?
John Gruden going back to Vegas would be electric.
Yep. That would be something, man.
Or it would be dangerous. Dude, if Arkansas takes a coaching staff of John Gruden, Bobby Petrino, and Ed Orgeron to Vegas, we gotta be careful there. We got to be very careful.
Somebody's not coming back is what's going to happen. Like someone's going to just stay in Vegas if that ends up being the case. Let's see. Also, Evan says, guys, I schedule my client meetings and lunch around being able to listen to this program each day. I appreciate the hours you put in. Thank you.
Thank you,
man.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
And is I
love that your business operations you've taken us into account. That's big time stuff.
I like Evan. Evan is ascending in the chatter power rankings.
Yeah. No,
there's a lot of chatters that have a high volume and that have some hits and misses. I feel like Evan is like not as high volume as some of them, but it's like he doesn't have bad chats. It's just solid, +2, +3, +2, +3, just a workhorse,
Yeah, can't give him too much credit though because he's not officially a member. I don't think so. I mean,
yeah, actually, I take it all back.
Yeah, I'd say we can't be saying that about a
non-member. Trying to talk him into it. We know he has a job, so
yeah. So he can't give it to us. Come on. Sweet Arkansas gal says, good to see you. She says, Hogs are going to hurt the feelings of the ASU students we seen on Channel 8 last night. Well, I guess were they talking crap? The reason I started this, the reason I did is because I hope that's the case, because I want to say there was somebody tweeting at me yesterday like, did you see these students or people talking trash from Arkansas? I'm like, good. I love that. Like, what do they have to lose? I'd be doing the same thing if I was Arkansas. Say, but yeah, dude, the Razorbacks, they suck. We're going to beat them. Like, yeah, do the same thing. It's fun.
Outside of the Chad Morris era at Arkansas, if you're a college student at a university, you should feel that way. Like, you should feel like, hey, yeah, we're about to whip everyone. You know, we could beat anyone. We're excited. That's just what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to feel confident in it, because again, this might be your one chance to play them, and who knows, maybe you pull off the miracle of miracles, and end up beating the Razorbacks. Addison says, are any of y'all making the trip to War Memorial this weekend?
No.
Did we determine we're 0 for 3?
I'm saying no, but
John's gonna go.
I would say, John, you're definitely going, right?
He's going.
I know. I don't want to though, but I'm going to end up, and it has nothing to do with, not going and seeing the Hogs play and everything. It's just, I know it's kind of like, I feel like I'm Trey Biddy when it came to the A&M game in Arlington every year, being like, I'm not going. And then just like, I'm going. And then I'm pissed afterwards. And it's a tale as old as time. But I know, because all my friends are in Little Rock. I know that they'll be there, and it's just like, man, like, what if something crazy happened? And I'm not paying. I'll tell you this, I ain't paying the money that I've been seeing for these tickets. I ain't doing that. Like, it's like somebody wants to be like, hey, here's a official donation to Inside Arkansas for a ticket, then maybe, but I ain't doing all that stuff.
As soon as you said, I don't think I'm probably not going to go to Little Rock. That when I heard that, I thought about the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah.
And you're like, I ain't no way I'm going. And then, well,
I'll tell you what,
sideline pass. Why not? Yeah, I'll just drive over there. You're going, man.
My decision, honestly, because I did think about it. I think logistically, it would just be kind of hard to pull off. I mean, we got pregame show, postgame show. It's like, I was thinking about that. I'm like, what am I going to do? Just like find a random spot in Little Rock to do the 9 a.m. pregame and then leave. It's like, I really didn't want to deal with that hassle. And also, I'm not gonna miss. I've been to War Memorial enough. I've seen it. I get it.
Yeah. It's just gonna be what it happens. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try not to go, but I'm gonna end up going. That's just what's gonna happen. Let's see. So, Hickory Hawk says the A-State Fighting Weird Wolves should just switch to the A-State football team. Is that what? Well, hold on a second. They're not the Fighting Wolves, right? They're just the Red Wolves, right? He's just okay. Making sure I didn't miss anything.
They're not the Weird Wolves.
Well, I know that, but
that would have been a good way to
fighting Red
piss off the U of A. Just be the Arkansas State football team.
That would be good.
Funny. It would have been a pretty good flex, actually.
Yeah, and I guess I don't even know when did they change to the Red Wolves? Was it like late 2000s?
A while ago. It was like mid 2000s, maybe.
Yeah, I just remember thinking, I was like, I don't get it. But that was pretty much
right around the same time that ULM went from the Indians to the Warhawks.
That's right. And what was it? Is Louisiana still just Louisiana? They still try to pull that off, like Louisiana Raging Cajuns?
Yeah, even though if you go to their website, it's ull.edu. It's like, come on, you can't just randomly be Louisiana.
I think it's kind of like when Little Rock or UALR try to be like just Little Rock. It's like, no, you're UALR.
They pulled it off more successfully, I would say. Yeah.
They did, but at the end of the day, because they used to be LaRue, Little Rock, Arkansas University. Like, stop changing your names. Stick with one. Fishman, appreciate the super chat. Says, between Gruden, Petrino, and Orgeron, who would be left on a Vegas high-rise motel roof?
Gruden's a wild card, dude. Like, he really is. Like, obviously, we've talked about him as the head coach. That dude is you really do have to. Like, Petrino, as much as we joke about him being a wild card, I don't think Petrino's like going out regularly and doing crazy stuff. Ed O does like to go to his beaches and get drunk. I think Gruden, we would see him at Tin Roof regularly if he were the head coach at Arkansas.
Yeah. I think the Petrino would be the one who gets stuck on the roof, though, I think.
Yeah. Kind of how I was.
He's not involved in all the story, but he just is kind of like, yeah.
To that point, Curtis, it's the guy that doesn't go out as much who usually ends up being the one that the one time he gets drunk all year, it goes completely disastrous. So I can see that.
Yeah. I love how we're just putting this thing together when it's not even happened yet. Like, yeah, here's the coaches, and here's what's going to be, and like we're already putting together our hangover memes where we're going to put the faces of the coaches like on them, and like just already putting it together. And still so much stuff to happen before all that actually happens. So, yeah, we'll have some heavy hitters here in a bit too, folks. Want to remind everybody here on Inside Arkansas, we're brought to you by our friends over at the Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. Halloween, it is going to be here before you know it, but we also know in September. The leaves are going to be changing. The colors of the leaves are going to be changing. The weather's going to be changing. Everything's going to be changing. Well, that means you got to make your house change a little bit and get it lit up for the Halloween season. And if you're in Northwest Arkansas or in the River Valley, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas is going to help you out because they give you all the materials, any color, any pattern, and they just install the lights themselves. Already had a few of you who have reached out and said that they're having Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas set you up, which is awesome because they are the best in the business and they are extremely affordable. And the best thing about it is that if you sign up for Halloween lights, you also get your Christmas lights for 50% off. Not going to get a better deal than that. So give our guy Brett a text at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com, or you can like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code right there on your screen. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. Okay, so a few more chats in here too. It's crazy. Oh, okay. Michelle says that Evan is a member. Did I get that wrong? He was not a member, or he was, and he is a member?
He's green on the thing here. I see that now.
Okay. Wow.
I did that to somebody recently. Was it Evan?
May have been.
It might have been. Somebody I did that to recently. I had him pulled up and I was like, man, you're not a member. That's crazy. Definitely a member.
Maybe Evan's just messing with us and he just like goes back and forth, snip, snap.
Cancels it and then re-ups, cancels re-ups.
I've been one this whole time, guys. You guys are jerks. Hey, something like that. Smutty Hawk says a Vegas game before GTA 6 is crazy. Yeah, the joke's always going to go at that. Craziness comes in. Our guy Burnt Chicken says, how do y'all feel about Rohan Jones with 0 catches in week 1?
Surprised? What were you saying, Curtis?
I don't feel like I am. I'm surprised, especially when they kind of pass it around as much as they did. Like 10 different guys caught a pass and he wasn't one of them or whatever. But I just, at this point, I just don't expect tight ends to be a huge focal point of the offense. So did I expect him to have a couple grabs? Yeah. If I had to pick a tight end to get one, it would have been him and not a Posky touchdown or, the reception that Platt had. But I don't think about it too much.
I'm with you. I think the thing that I'm like maybe more taken back by was the snap count of that.
That was
played so many more snaps. Like I just expected Rohan to be maybe number 1 in that pecking order, and he seems to be number 3. So that surprises me. But in terms of the catches, I agree wholeheartedly, Curtis, that I'm not going to hold my breath. And we said this the other day on the show that like we are not going to do the bit this year where we're like, when will they get the tight ends going? When will they start featuring? They purposely let a tight end walk because they did not want to spend money on the tight end position and went with 3 unproven guys because they did not care whether or not their tight end room. It's like how NFL teams view running backs. Like they're like, hey, we're good to just draft a 5th rounder and feed him the carries because we're not going to spend money on that position. So I definitely don't expect tight ends to be a huge thing. What's funny about it, though, is the one play I noticed Rohan, he made a really good block on Mike Washington's 30-yard run, and he was like kind of out there lead blocking, and I was like, damn, Rohan Jones, maybe he can block a little bit. Obviously, it's not a big deal, but I just thought it was funny that the one thing I noticed with him was in the run blocking game and not outrunning routes.
Yeah, I'm fine with the offense when you look as good as what you did on Saturday. It's like I'm not going to bring up be like, yeah, but why are the tight ends getting more? It's like if the offense is working, the offense is working. If it's not working, then let's have a conversation about it. But if it's working, it's working. Evan just wanted us to know here's his proof for being a member for a month. Thank you, Evan. Yeah, we need more proof. We don't believe y'all when you say things and your names are green. We got to have that actual proof. Also, Heartbroken Hawk says Taylor Green over under 5.5 total touchdowns this Saturday. Ooh.
Under.
I'm going under because I think that Arkansas, the law of averages is going to catch up and their running backs are going to score some touchdowns, at least a couple. And then, I don't know how many points Arkansas is going to score in general, maybe 40 or whatever, but I'm going to go under as well.
Let's see. If you go to SARACEN, there's a double R prop play right now where you can get Taylor Green over 3.5 passing touchdowns and over a half rushing touchdown. So just one rushing touchdown for plus 300.
4 passing, 1 rushing. See, John, if it were just simply over 4.5, just total touchdowns, and he could combine for him in any way possible, I'd be tempted to take that. The fact that it has to be 4 passing, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah. I may flirt with it a little bit there because I don't know. Well, here's the deal. How about this? If Taylor Green goes over and gets 6 touchdowns or more on Saturday, then I think people need to actually start, even though I don't think it's going to end up being the case, but when people put up these way too early Heisman stuff like that, like he's going to be in those lists. Because if that would give him a total of what, over 12 touchdowns in 2 games, like you're going to start being in that conversation.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Not saying it'll for sure happen and he'll win the Heisman. I'm just saying that if he does get over 6 touchdowns in this game against Arkansas State, people are going to start putting him in those conversations too. So
shout out to Heartbroken Hog here, who says that he responded to us and then he said, "Y'all are probably right. I just wanted to see Taylor go off more." How can he go off more than what he did Saturday? I mean, it's like the best performance of his career.
Yeah, one of them.
You're dissatisfied with his performance? Jeez.
Yeah, imagine him throwing 6 more touchdowns. He's got 12 touchdown passes in 2 games. It's like, and he had I don't even remember how many he had last season, but
15, I think.
Yeah,
total. Yeah.
You just get 12 in 2 games. Yeah, it makes up for lost time. Our producer Cameron says it was omen when the announcer called him Rohan Gaines before the game. I did not know that. I did not know he called him Rohan.
That's an Inside Arkansas reference, by the way.
Yes, because there's always a question of what's Rohan Gaines doing these days. It's like, who cares? Let's see a few more because we'll get to our heavy hitters here in just a little bit as well. Seth says, do we have stats for when Julian Neal was thrown at last week? Seemed like he was getting picked on.
We actually do. And we talked about this. I guess that was on the report card segment when we talked about the DBs. According to PFF, 2 for 2, 29 yards. Both of them we remember because it was on the opening possession. And, giving up 29 yards on the opening possession is tough. I don't think he played a ton of snaps after that, though. I mean, I know he was on the field a little bit. He maybe played 20 snaps total, so giving up two receptions for 29 yards is notable. But I guess it really was worse than, or not as bad as we remembered, because we just remembered those 2 right off the bat. But yes, 100% completion percentage, 29 yards.
The first 4 receptions that Alabama A&M had on that drive, the nearest Razorback was Julian Neal. So it wasn't always his man. Like he got credited with twice, but it was 4 plays. I remember being like, good grief, brother. But he figured it out. He had that big hit later too.
Yeah, well, in a couple. I mean, hell, one of his big hits came on a ball where someone caught it in front of him downfield or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, see, this is what happens when you don't have the no-fly zone Hudson Clark anymore. You're just gonna have breakdowns nonstop. So they got to find somebody to make up for it. Maybe Julian Neal will get pumped up and start getting things right. Actually, I don't know. They have so many different guys. Like yesterday, hearing from Caleb Wooden, what was pretty fascinating. And I want to say, man, this is the clip I should have pulled. Somebody asked him, like, have you ever played in a game like this against a team that, was in state or like a big deal or whatever? And he was like, yeah, I played against Georgia and Alabama when I was at Auburn and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's probably a little bit bigger of a deal when you played there than playing Arkansas and Arkansas State. Just saying. All right, let's go ahead and get into your heavy hitters presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. We know that storms can hit when you least expect it. I mean, it's always going to be happening, especially here in the state of Arkansas. But the thing is that you don't want to be reactive when it comes to your roof. You don't want to have to deal with it after the fact, after the damage is hit. You want to make sure you're good to go. And that's what HD Roofing is going to help you out with, where they're going to give you a free inspection and give you that peace of mind, where you call them up, they're going to say, hey, your roof is good to go, or they're going to tell you, hey, your roof needs some work. And no matter what they end up telling you, the inspection's free. So give them a call today at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. But we know that when it comes to roofing, they're the best in the business because they have professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation. So again, give them a call today at 501-428-0429. It is HD Roofing and Construction. All right. So for our heavy hitters today, guys, there was a few that I was looking at. Here's the deal. It's like I really wanted to use mine as a negative, but I'm not going to do it. I can't force the issue. I can't find a way to make it work. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to make this my non-heavy hitter. I'm switching up it a little bit just because I'm so mad about it. NFL Red Zone is going to have commercials, and I'm really pissed about this. It's been confirmed already. So you know what? I don't know if they still do it. Do they still have a different red zone? Wasn't there like 2 red zones, NFL red zones that were there? I'm not sure, but I may have to go to the other one because it's really upsetting to me that they're actually going to have commercials when you're paying for something and getting those added to it. I don't really understand it. I don't get it. I'm sure that capitalism is big. We all are big fans of making money and whatnot. This is something that was really upsetting to me. So I'm using it as my non-heavy hitter. That's what I'm going to do today because it makes me that upset because that's how I watch my NFL Sundays is using red zone. And now that there's going to be commercials, it just sucks. It just absolutely sucks. See, this is what we were afraid of, guys. ESPN and all this stuff, they start screwing up stuff. And that's exactly what happened with this. And that's my non-heavy hitter. I'm giving a non-heavy hitter today.
I have a non-heavy hitter today too. So, I'm interested in this.
Yeah, Curtis. Yes. Yeah. Who you pissed at today?
No, Andrew, why don't you go ahead actually, and I'll bring some positivity back to this conversation. Good grief, man. But hey, sometimes there's just not a lot of great going on in the world. We do these heavy hitters often, and I've done it before where I'm like, I don't know if it's actually, but I want to talk about this, so it's all fair game.
That's kind of where I'm at. I was actually prepared to make my heavy hitter Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers for cutting a deal under the table. And, because I don't know if you guys saw this, Pablo Torre, who works, I guess, for ESPN, did this whole expose podcast where he's like, hey, the Clippers have been paying Kawhi Leonard under the table. They have this fraudulent company that claims to be a tree planting company. And they funneled $28 million to Kawhi Leonard through this company, which is very notable. Obviously, you can't do that. That's an oopsie. But my non-heavy hitter is Pablo Torre. Again, he's a great journalist, great reporter. He does a great job, and he's doing reporting work. Like, this is totally real. He investigates these things. I just am kind of annoyed with how many people that have sports platforms that don't talk about sports and do not talk about ball. And I think it's kind of weird that Pablo Torre has made this whole bit of being a narc. I remember a few months ago, he did this whole expose on Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend. And he's like, guys, did you guys know that her mom owns a sex shop in North New York City? What do we think about this? And it's like, dude, we like sports. We like talking football, basketball, baseball. We don't care about any of this stuff. Now the Kawhi Leonard stuff, obviously a big story. I get why that's notable. But I just think it's weird how many people with sports platforms, like Jason Whitlock. Did y'all see the video he did after the Alabama-Florida State game? I know y'all did because we talked about it. But that's crazy. And I mean, there's and it's on both sides of this thing, by the way, because I see, like Clay Travis, for example, never talks sports. All he talks about is who's woke and who's a joke and who does this and who pissed him off and who's a real red-blooded American. It's like, dude, just talk about sports. We don't care about this stuff. Except, sadly, the world does care about this stuff. But it's like, normalize just talking ball, which is what we wanted to do here today. But I'm so tired of these people that make their livings off of sports that don't know anything about sports and never talk about sports. They just talk about weird buzzwords all around. And I just think it's weird for someone in Pablo Torre's position who has a platform on ESPN and a podcast and a show. And all he does is sit here telling us what these coaches and players do that are bad and does investigative journalism work and all this. I'm like, dude, get into politics. If that's what you want, if you want to be an investigator, you want to be a PI, go do that, man. But why are you infiltrating the sports world and using your platform to do that? I just think that's weird.
No, I'm with you because there's people that make a living in a lot of different things. And it's and I'm not using what you're saying as this example, but it was I saw that today, the Big 12 is trying to do some stuff with Dave Portnoy and get them involved with the campuses around there, which again, Barstool, I have no problems with it, but just shows you just how different things are going when it comes to sports world. What was it 10 years ago or whatever, where Barstool got their show ripped out of ESPN when they first started it because of some comments. And now it's we're going all in. You guys get to come out here and do all this. Media is ever changing, isn't it, fellas? Media is ever changing. And a lot of people are just trying to play catch up. It's amazing how that all plays out. So positivity, Curtis. Do we need some positivity?
Do you have anything to just restore the vibes?
I do. Yeah, I do, boys. Heavy hitters, John Calipari. Whenever you need the vibes to be restored, you just throw a heavy hitter award for the day to Coach Cal. But no, we talked at the beginning of the show about doing some plane tracking stuff. The recruiting period's back open, and all that means is coaches can go back out on the road. So they've done that, and it's like prime priority day. Like you figure out who they're really after. You know what I mean? Because there's more than one guy. Like there's several guys who you're excited about and who you'd like to have on your roster and everything like that. But you can only go see the first one once. Like you have to make an active decision about who you're going to go see. And Cal flew out to the DMV area late last night, and he didn't do the midnight visit thing that Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey did for that Tay Kenny kid. Some people might think that's cool. I'd think, bro, I'm trying to sleep, man. Like I got open gym at 6 a.m. What are we doing? But Cal's out for Jordan Smith Jr., who has been the top target in the class for him, dating all the way back to the spring, hell, even into last season. And that's who he chose to go see first, him and Baba Aladaton. And this is very, very notable for Arkansas because this is the kid who was the number one prospect in the 2027 class, number one in the country. He reclassified into this year's class. So he is fully available right now. And Arkansas has been all over him. And Cal was there with him at like 6 o'clock this morning. So he was there early. He had him get his ass out of bed early, but visited with him. They were there for an open gym in the morning. They've got a visit scheduled with him. They're targeting that October 25th date now. This is a dude who was profiling his potential number one overall pick a couple years down the road. So he's really, really good. He's 6'10", and he's, I don't think he's even 17 years old yet. So the dude is legit. Arkansas is all over him. They were out there prioritizing him, those two guys there. And it gives you an idea of it's weird because a lot of times who they're really after. Like you can pretty much look at John Calipari's targets and go, okay, yeah, they're probably going to get 3 out of these 4 guys and be done with it. It's a little bit different this year. You know that he's going to get his guys, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly who that's going to be. So you wait for a time period like this where you can see who they're out to see first, who they're really, really prioritizing. And it's the number one guard in the class, and it's the guy who's the number one prospect in the other class before he reclassified. I'm pumped about it. Mr. Worldwide, John Calipari.
I will say that for Cal, whenever there's a graphic put up about him with a visit of a player or on a player or whatever, I feel like the most commonly used picture of him is his shrugging the shoulders with his, like, I think there's one maybe you got tagged in it too, Curtis, with the Sam Kaiser guy. I think that picture of Cal gets used more than any other picture when it comes to these graphics of just kind of like the shrugging with the smirk of like, yeah, I'm on this guy. Yeah, I'm probably going to get him. What are you going to do about it? It's just that thing. So I always makes me laugh. I thought about that this morning when I saw that. I was like, man, that's the picture that gets used the most, I think, of all the ones that Cal has. But yeah, that's just, again, that was the one thing. I know we talk about it, but the most fun thing about getting John Calipari is just knowing that you're going to get involved with all the big time players nonstop, 24/7, 365. You're always going to be involved. And it doesn't even, I was like, anybody that gets tagged, or if I get tagged in one of these like Joe Tipton tweets, I'm like, I have no idea who that is, but I know he's good. So it's like, I know he's a big deal. I know he's good. Doesn't matter. So no, that's good. That is good to see. Also, I'll tell you what, I got a positive heavy hitter as well. And I meant to get the video, guys, and I apologize, but maybe I'll get it here in a second. How about Brian Kelly taking the shot at Dabo? Did you guys see that yesterday?
I saw that there was something that happened. What did he say? I've noticed that coaches are like getting kind of bold these days, talking about each other.
Yeah. So essentially what it was is that you had, again, I really wish I could get the video. I'll probably find it while I'm talking about it. But essentially what it was is Dabo was talking about how they played against LSU. And he's like, I graded us at a 58, talking about like a 58 percentage. That's why, we failed. But he's like, LSU, they were just at a 65 is how he put it. It's basically saying, yeah, they won, but just barely, they were just a little bit higher. Brian Kelly got asked about that. And then he was like, well, he must be a pretty tough grader, to be able to put us at 65 and everything. But, maybe he didn't watch the second half of the game because, I feel like we were a little bit higher than a 65. And he's like, he just really went off about that grade stuff. And I was like, man, love the shots getting taken here. And Brian Kelly, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I want to always give coaches a lot of credit whenever somebody says something that maybe is not supposed to be insulting. Because I don't know if Dabo was trying to be insulting. I think he was more just saying like, hey, we didn't do this. But then if they take it and they're petty enough to where it is insulting and they take a shot, just like, okay, all right, well, I guess we're doing that now. We're taking shots at each other. I appreciate when coaches do that, the pettiness. It's like, no, you don't ever say my name ever again. So I'm just going to take it to another level. But yeah, it was a big win though. If I'm Brian Kelly, I'm walking tall. Which, by the way, guys, do you think in LSU, would you guys say LSU is the best team in the SEC after week 1? Would you give them that kind of moniker?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. They're the most proven for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they've definitely accomplished the coolest feat of all the SEC teams. I mean, of course, Georgia, they didn't play anybody good week 1, but it's like they'll have something to say about that. I still think Texas is going to have some things to say about that. I look forward to seeing how they bounce back, but I'm good with giving LSU the nod for now.
Yeah. We just talked about on our Locked On roundtable yesterday, and I was like, well, I guess I don't know who else would get the nod there, but that's who I'd go with. All right, so I have more chat. Shout out to Arkansas though for the super chat. Appreciate it. He just comes out with his Sharks SEC power rankings that nobody asked for. How about that? Perfect segue. He says LSU 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Florida 4, Tennessee 5, South Carolina 6, Bama 7, Ole Miss 8, A&M 9, Oklahoma 10, Auburn 11, Arkansas 12, Missouri 13, Vanderbilt 14, 15 Mississippi State, and 16 Kentucky.
It's a solid ass ranking. You know, I'm sure we could nitpick and I'm sure we could, argue here and there, but I feel like this is pretty solid. I don't have too many complaints. I will say, of this Ole Miss, A&M, OU, Auburn, that 8 through 11 stretch right there, I feel like one of those teams is going to wind up jumping up to that top 5, and one of them is going to end up being way worse. Like, I just feel like that's a very volatile group right there that you could talk me into very high or very low.
Yeah. I think that Auburn, I'm not saying that they're the best team ever, but they had one of the better wins of the SEC for them to be at 12. So, I get it.
Yeah.
But,
that was a really good win. Yeah, I would probably have them higher. I'd probably have Tennessee higher based on what they did against a pretty good team. I might just flip Tennessee and Florida or something. But yeah, I agree. It's a pretty solid list.
Yeah.
Is South Carolina that good? Let me ask y'all, because I watched them a little bit. I guess it was Sunday that they played. And they did win, and they did cover. I'm not sure how good Virginia Tech is. I thought Virginia Tech sucked last year, and I don't know if they're that great this year. I mean, South Carolina gets a lot of benefit of the doubt because you have a returning quarterback. You had a great year last year. I don't know. I think there might be some teams below them, and I'm not disagreeing with Arkansas because I see everybody has them there. But I think everyone's just kind of assuming South Carolina is good, and I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, Again, it's one game, so it's really tough to do. But I'm not going to argue with you, Arkansas, especially since you gave us a super chat to say it. So if you want to update us every day with a super chat on your rankings, we'll allow that. If you want to do that,
I also love anybody who does rankings. It's like if people want to nitpick, it's like, all right, well, let's see your ranking. Let's see what you got, and then we can compare and contrast. So I'm all for it. I think that was a solid list, Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas has also been a member for 4 months. Congratulations! It says like and sub chat. Yeah. You should like the stream and subscribe to Inside Arkansas. You should do that. Also, shout out to Dylan Henson. He didn't have a comment, at least not here, but appreciate the super chat regardless. Appreciate you. Yeah, always appreciate you, man. We'll get to more of your chats and more of the discussions here in a second, but also want to remind everybody that we are presented by our friends over at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. We know that the summer is winding down and fall is going to be here before you know it. But the great thing about Arkansas is fall is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful here in the great state, and especially when it comes around to the lakes. And some of you may think about, getting on the water is only a summertime deal. No, that's not the case always, because there's a lot of times where you can get out there and enjoy the great weather, the great sunsets, and the great beauty that the state of Arkansas has to offer with the leaves changing and everything. And Freedom Boat Club is going to help you out with that, where if you sign up and you're a member of their club, they'll help you get into those boats and have access to them without the commitments. You don't have to worry about bringing a boat down. You don't have to worry about having a slip that you got to put it in. You don't have to worry about all the maintenance on the boats. None of those things. They're going to have it taken care of for you each and every time out on the water. So find out more about the great offers that they have from the club by texting Inside Arkansas, 2 words, Inside Arkansas, to 501-270-6477. That's 501-270-6477. You'll get 50% off your initiation fee. It's as that simple. And again, they have locations in Greers Ferry, Lake Hamilton, and also some more locations here coming soon in the great state of Arkansas. So again, check it out today. It is Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Really appreciate their partnership here with us at Inside Arkansas. So a few other chats here too, because we'll have some other things to get into. But John Beckman, this guy, I guess he's our residential Arkansas State fan now. We'll just go ahead and double him that. But he says, you will learn to say Corey Ruckers name after Saturday.
It's a pretty simple name. Is it hard to say in Northeast Arkansas or
Rooker?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe say. It's like
Yeah,
said,
maybe it is Rooker.
yeah, it would be one thing. It would be like you will learn his name. But to learn to say his name.
Yeah. He's good though.
Yeah, no, he is.
He's damn good, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm definitely like, I feel like we even have complimented Corey Rucker and Jalen Rayner and like the offense a good bit. I feel like we've given him more credit than we probably should, frankly. But no, I mean, listen, there's no doubt that like Arkansas's got some things they got to be aware of on that Arkansas State side. I definitely am not thrilled about the idea of these Arkansas DBs facing a passing offense that is going to be having a lot of confidence, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Also, speaking of, you have Ryan saying SEMO had Rayner flushed out of the pocket several times. SEC 3-star is about to wreak havoc. Okay. Well,
I hope so.
Yeah, they should.
Those SEC 3-stars did not flush Alabama A&M's quarterback out of the pocket too much, but hopefully they do better.
Well, and also the thing with Rayner is like, even if you do flush him out of the pocket, like he can still beat you. Like he's still very dangerous outside of the pocket. And so
you could tell from the way Sam Pittman was talking about him, they've got a high level of respect and awareness for how elusive that dude can be.
That's gonna be funny. How funny would it be if Arkansas finally like gets a bunch of pressure on the quarterback? They're sending all these stunts, they're sending all these blitzes, and then he's just looping around making throws downfield. Which, by the way, like I'm sure will happen a couple times in this game. So it is going to be interesting to see how much they're able to kind of box him in the pocket, and if they maybe do anything creative with how they get to the quarterback.
Yeah, listen, I'm just thinking that if you're Arkansas again, like last week against Alabama A&M, if you didn't get after the quarterback the way you wanted to or the way you should have, it's like, all right, you'll get one, but let's see it a little bit this week, huh? If you want to give any sort of hope, if you want to give any sort of good vibes, get to the quarterback this week, because if he can't get to it after Alabama A&M and after Arkansas State, it's just not in the cards. You're going to have to start playing 2-9 defense. Just drop 9 every time, because that's about the best bet you're going to have if you can't get after the quarterback.
Well, speaking of Mr. Rucker, by the way, I think all offseason when we've talked about the D-line, the people that have pushed back against that would just say, well, we got all these linebackers. We're just going to create pressure with other situations. We're going to send blitzes. T-Will loves doing that kind of stuff, which, like, I hear you. But what they don't realize is that puts a lot of pressure on your corners, and you kind of have to have guys that can man up. Obviously, you can do some zone blitzes, but your corners are going to have to step up and be ready, to play some one-on-one. And so that's going to be a fascinating part. It's like, yeah, you can do creative things to bring pressure, but what are you going to do if they're still able to attack your corners and get the ball out quick? It's going to be interesting to see how Arkansas, just what this looks like, because I think we have our perception of what the pass rush will be, what it will look like. I think this is a nice little test, because I think if Arkansas State is comfortably moving the ball, comfortably dropping back and throwing the ball consistently, it's going to be interesting.
That's right. Also, our guy John Beckman, he's just coming in here. I love the fact there's an Arkansas State fan in here, though. He says Rucker is the best wide receiver. Only had 2 catches because Rayner wasn't going to force feed him. Rucker only had 2 catches, but for big plays, including a touchdown. So
yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's a good receiver. They got another dude, I think Cross. That's pretty good too.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of really solid receivers there. So
I'm at the point now where I'm like, did we say something weird about Arkansas State's receivers where we were like, yeah, right, kid Rucker sucks?
No.
Like, I feel like he's trying to sell us. It's like we've never pushed back on the idea that they've got a solid quarterback. They got some receivers that can make some plays.
By the way, who would you guys say is like the greatest Arkansas State athlete of all time? Like, is anybody coming to your mind that someone's from Arkansas State? It could be any sport.
Joseph Pinion, probably.
Yeah, Joseph Pinion. Yeah. I was trying to think. I feel like I'm missing somebody that was in the NFL for some reason, like as a defensive lineman, that was really good. I could be completely missing out on it, but I was just always curious if you guys knew of any Arkansas State players that really came to mind as far as big time athletes.
Do y'all remember that quarterback they had a few years ago that was like a 5-star that went to Alabama and then went to Arkansas State and then like ended up not even winning the job at Arkansas State? But I remember thinking he was going to be a big deal. What was that guy's name? It was like Lane Hedge? No,
Lane
that's
Hatcher?
Lane Hatcher. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, funny because he was one of the first ones that popped up when I said that. And he went from Arkansas State to Texas State to Ball State. So he had quite the journey when it came to his college.
Jamar Clark, McCrory Jaguar legend, former Philadelphia Eagle.
I like that.
Arkansas State O-lineman.
Okay.
There you go.
See, I didn't even remember. I didn't even know that he came from McCrory, to be honest. So, but hey, listen, McCrory produces some freak athletes every so often. That's another thing too, is like Arkansas State or any school like that. Sometimes you'll be like, man, that's surprising. You see a guy that's in the NFL that went to this little school. It's like, dude, there's so many occasions of that happening. That's big.
Did Demario Davis go to Arkansas State? Because if he did, that's the answer. Demario Davis is a great NFL player.
I mean, John Beckman, he might be the one to ask. So
Demario Davis might be the guy.
Yeah, he might be. Shout out to Dylan. He just says for another super chat. He said, sorry for the blank super chat earlier.
Don't apologize. Do it again.
Yeah,
we couldn't read this one either.
Yeah, I can't read it. It's just blank. It's blank. Tyler says, catching alive. Happy to be here. Love you guys' show. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate you, man.
Very noble of you to show up.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a few of those people that have been on like, hey, first time I've been able to see a live or anything. It's like, what have you been doing? Like, what changed?
Working.
Yeah, doing that nonsense, like working a job and all that. But yeah, I guess so. Either way, yeah, we appreciate all of you though that are tuning in and hanging out with us. Jakota, going back to the War Memorial Stadium thing, he says what's even worse at War Memorial Stadium is the locker rooms. When we played in the state championship there, their locker room was so bad. I mean, this has been an ongoing thing again with the locker rooms, with the issues, everything about Little Rock. It's just tough. So there's a reason why they don't have any scheduled games moving forward there. It's just not the facility that it once was. Did you guys ever play in like what was the worst facility you ever played in, or Curtis that you coached in? Was there a facility where like, golly, this is the worst?
Oh God, man. I hate to be this guy because the place literally it's runs in my family, but Crowley's Ridge College, the worst gym that we ever played in, like by far, man. It was not a great situation. That's Northeast Arkansas. So all the Arkansas State fans who are in the chat are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, again, a lot of Wilkersons in over at CRC, man, but that gym was rough, brother. We used to go there and play every year, and they'd come to our place. So it was cool, but man, oh man, that place was something else. The Pioneers, CRC.
Do you have one, Andrew?
The only one I haven't won, I'm trying to think of because I didn't play in college, so I don't have any like colleges that I can make fun of. I'm trying to think. Leesville High School, home of LSU running back Michael Ford, who y'all may remember for fumbling in that 2011 game and letting Alonzo Highsmith run that fumble back. Yeah. That kid was from Leesville. Their high school, their football locker rooms were really bad. And I remember freshman year going there and being like, damn, this is a dump. Weird random memory. Y'all ready for this one? This is a great one. Y'all ready for this? This is one of those, I know exactly where I was at when an Arkansas thing happened. Y'all remember Brandon Allen got hurt and missed the Rutgers game in 2013?
Yep.
Well, I remember getting out of that game against Leesville and checking my phone and seeing that he was going to play the next day against A&M, which is the Dietrich Wise sack game. And I was so excited. I was like, dude, we're beating A&M.
Mm-hmm.
We did not, but I was excited that night.
You weren't an AJ Derby guy? You didn't think he did a good enough job against Rutgers as quarterback?
Loved AJ Derby, the tight end. Did not love AJ Derby, the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think you were the only one there. So we'll have our final. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, by the way, because I was looking to see if I could find a good image. CRC's upgraded, man. At least their floor, the basketball court itself actually looks pretty sharp now.
Okay.
I can't speak for the rest. Like they had like the little locker room was under the bleachers, sort of. So you had to duck to get under there and everything. And the weight room was just like a random bench and some old plates, and it was just out there. So if you tried to dive for a loose ball or something, you could just run into it. Looked like there was like asbestos just hanging off of the rafters and stuff. Like it was pretty rough there for a while, man. But it looks like they did a little makeover on the court. At least it looks decent.
Well, if we're talking about decent facilities that we played in, I did pitch at Northwestern State University, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, no runs, 2 hits. Not a big deal, but that was cool pitching on a college turf field.
Man,
a lot of people talk about that still.
See, what sucks is like if I say anything about like where I played at or anything, people are going to get mad because these places exist up here in Northwest Arkansas still. But I'm just telling you right now that this shows you how naive I am or was when I was growing up in Fayetteville, being so nervous about going down to this really rough area, where there's just a lot of crime, a lot of uncomfortable awkwardness. This place called Fort Smith, we had to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just, I felt like we might as well be going down Skid Row because that's all I knew. And of course, it wasn't that way at all. But that was just like one of those things like, oh my gosh, this place, so terrible, so awful. And forgot, was it, well, I don't know. I'm not even going to mention it because it's just going to piss people off. But still, there's a place down there that I was all nervous about, but then it ended up not being a problem at all. So
intern Cameron says that Cedarville allegedly has a really bad football field and the bleachers were rotting.
Ew.
So we got any Cedarville folks in the chat.
Go after Cameron. Yeah. Start lighting Cameron up for him talking crap about your stadium. All right, we'll get to the final segment here on the show, folks, in our final chats. I want to remind everybody, though, the Hickey and Hole Law, that is a great partner of ours here, and that some of you may need some help when it comes to those divorce and custody cases. Like that gentleman that we talked about yesterday, Grant, that had his thing lit up there on the Razorback Stadium. Congrats on the divorce. Well, he probably went to Hickey and Hole Law because they're the ones that's going to do the best job in helping you out when it comes to those cases because they're extremely important, and they're going to provide you with persistent and diligent representation. And we know that they are also going to build it on honesty and trust. You got to be able to trust the people who are representing you. You got to do the things that are important, make sure that you're protected, that your family's protected, all those things. And that's what they're going to help out. But it's not just divorce and custody cases. They help you out with criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, estate planning, the whole works. That's what Hickey and Hole Law is able to provide for you. And they know that every case that they take is extremely important as they strive to give it the most time and care that it deserves. So give them a call today as they have offices across the entire state of Arkansas at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check them out online at hickeyandhole.com. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. All right, so a few more of your final chats before we roll out of here. Big Lefty, I can't read your super chat. I'm sorry. It's just this is a family program, and we're just not we just can't do those. You know, it's kind of like PG-13 a little bit. You know, you can get away with some, but just I just can't do those right now. But we appreciate the super chat, Big Lefty. Appreciate you. John Sullivan says Braylon looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there. I brought this up to you guys last night on the press conference. I think it's what he's referring to.
Yeah,
dude did not want to be there. Whew. Yeah, it was.
Did you have a stance, John, on because we've done this game before? Because like some players come and they're excited. Curtis, you remember that time KJ came and was like damn near falling asleep. Like he was so disinterested.
He was texting while he was answering somebody's questions. Like, dang, bro.
I think it's funny. So one, like John, I thought you might, because I mean, you were tapped in on it, and I remember you pointed out, you were like, dude, Braylon Russell does not want to be here at all. I just thought it's funny because like it's Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Frankly, if I were a college student that had just got done with a 3-hour practice, I can't imagine anywhere I'd want to be, other than that. You know what I mean? Like that would not be what I would want to do with my Tuesday night. So I kind of don't blame the players, but I do think it's funny that they make them go in there and snore their way through these press conferences.
Yeah, which I get. Again, I'm not saying he's got to come in there and just be like, oh, man, can't wait to talk to you people. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just more of, at least like fake it somewhat, just try to act like it. But again, I don't care if he rushes for 200 yards on Saturday. It doesn't matter. And no one's going to care about it. But I could just tell, there's just some players that don't like doing it, don't like dealing with it. And he's definitely one of them that didn't care about it. So let's see. This John Beckman guy is just I see so many of his chats. Again, I'm just glad we have some Arkansas State fans in here as well. Heartbroken Hawk says, I'm like Anakin when he's talking about, I guess, more from Taylon Green. He's like, I want more and I know I shouldn't. There you go, Andrew. Yeah, there you go. So let's see. Also, Bassin in the Ozark says, hey, Inside Arkansas, what y'all think about the matchup of Arkansas's DBs versus A-State's wide receivers?
We did touch on that a little bit earlier.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's, I'm leaning towards a little bit more of what Andrew was saying yesterday about, are we given too much respect here? You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's no doubt it's going to be a significantly bigger challenge than what they faced against Alabama A&M. And if you have questions about that secondary or, Arkansas's ability to play more man coverage and things they talked about in camp this year, they would need to prove that against Arkansas State if they're going to try to do it against anyone else on the schedule moving forward.
we talk a lot about knowing your strengths and weaknesses as a team, and this Arkansas coaching staff, they're not morons. They know they're a little bit sketchy up front defensively, and they know they don't like their corners. And so I think it's going to be fascinating to see like how that plays out, like how much pressure, like how much man-to-man coverage are they really running, and what does that look like? Because if they come into this matchup where Arkansas State threw the ball for 400 yards last week and your secondary is sketchy and you get diced up by Arkansas State, that is going to be really hard to excuse and look past. So I think this matchup is funny because I don't think we can find out how good Arkansas is this weekend, but we can definitely find out if they're bad. You know what I mean? I think if Arkansas gets diced up in this matchup, Arkansas State's got a solid quarterback. They got some good receivers. Like, there's no shame in it, but that would be a pretty bad sign if you went into this matchup where everyone is looking at it and saying, I hope these guys don't throw the ball on you. So if they throw the ball on you aggressively, it's like that's going to be a really bad look and one that's going to be hard for fans to not overreact to.
Also, Arkansas said he's right. Cedarville was brutal. So we do have confirmation here for Cameron's deal. Also, real quick, guys, maybe this has been done. I wasn't paying attention, but apparently they are doing the Razorback raffle again this week, and it's up to $18,000. So razorbackraffle.com. Ooh.
Interesting.
There you go. Are they? I guess they're again going to do it in the stadium.
Well, I don't know, since it's War Memorial. Can they?
I don't know how that works.
I assume they can. Well, great. So, no, man, sorry. It's just when you click on the link to go to Razorback raffle, it gives you the last week one. It's like, this one's been closed. You can't donate into this one. So you gotta, it's just funny to me. You gotta wait. It's there though. It's there. You just gotta click on it. But let's see. I was going to see if the website said that you could buy it in the stadium. There's nothing about it, but I don't know. Either way, it's at
the in-stadium purchases accounted for like over 90% of the raffle last time, because it was literally at like 50K, and then all of a sudden it was like 250. Like once the game started, like, oh damn, they definitely had a huge uptick.
Yeah, because you got Homer and Jethro from Earl, drunk as can be, just being like, I want to win money. Here's a 20, and then just it piles up. But hey, it's smart marketing. Gets the money in there. That's what's most important. So, all right, well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for today?
Nah, not today.
I don't have any final thoughts. This was a contentious show, and I told Curtis when I first got on, I was like, I'm in a little bit of a bad mood, and I'm hoping that I can turn it around. And I did a little bit, but it was mean in the chat today, and they hurt my feelings. So I don't have any final thoughts for them.
Yeah. So be nicer tomorrow. Exactly. Is the message I got for the chat. Be nicer. No, I mean, I don't have any final thoughts either, other than just subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. I got a lot of great things going on, and I know we're really excited about football season continuing on, and we're going to have great football content with Inside Arkansas Football, as well as our Inside Arkansas recruiting podcast. Dudley Dawson's going to have another pod tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that, and getting the latest updates on all things recruiting when it comes to the football side of things as well. You can also subscribe to all of our audio podcasts, wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, the Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting, or Inside Arkansas Football. Got it all right here on Inside Arkansas. You can also check out our social media at Inside Arkansas. So that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.